time to talk about what's going on in America. It's time to talk about what's going on in the workforce and in the homes of the American middle class. It's time to talk about the status and the future of today's economy. It's time to talk labor with your host, Jerry Williams Sr.
Well, hello, we're back again at Talk Labor, and we've been gone for a couple of weeks because we've been out of town. We have been working with the agency or Infinite Scholar. Infinite Scholar is where we give out a lot of scholarships. I was down in St. Louis last weekend, the whole weekend, and it was beautiful to see those young kids coming in getting those scholarships, and it's just marvelous. But before we start, I'd like to do what I do every week and tell you this, that, if you have problems, if you can't get your voice heard, right here at Talk Labor is where you get your voice heard. We got the megaphone, and you can come and speak. Because if you don't, if you see things that are bothering you or things that could be detrimental to you and you hide your head in the sand and you don't speak up, guess what? It can and will become a detriment to you, your family, and all the people around you. Okay? So when you see it happening, speak up. If it's bad, talk about it. And if it's good, talk about it here on Talk Labor. Okay? Now, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, go back and look in our archives and see all the things that we talked about and see how right now everything that we talked about before is happening here now. Remember, we were talking about the red light and how they were all situated right in the African American neighborhood, and why 75% of the red light situations that they had were got you, and people had to pay $100 a whop, and we started making a noise and we told people to go to your alderman, jump on your alderman because the mayor can't do anything without the alderman. Guess what? You did that. And look how they eased off. They bagged off. It got all in the papers. And we also talked about rogue cops. We talked about rogue cops before anybody was really talking about it. Go back and look in our archives here at Talk Labor, and you'll see. We talked about how once the camera is on, and they were going to come on, that you're going to see what's going on in America. And the incidents that you've seen, now we presented many of them, showing you the spots where people have been doing this, where they were throwing little kids down from swimming pools, putting them knees in the back. The young man in Cleveland where they broke his neck, his spine. The kid in Cleveland where they shot him when he was a 12-year-old kid. He had a toy gun. I mean, here in Chicago, the little 16-year-old kid that they shot 16 times, say he had a 4-inch pocket knife. The young man that they shot in South Carolina, he was running away. This guy shot him 8 times and then run up and tried to drop some evidence and didn't know somebody had a camera on it. And of course, Sandra Bland, who I still say is my hero. She was murdered. In my opinion, she was murdered. I can go on and on. In New York, the brother, I believe his name was Gardner, was choked to death by rogue cops. And like I was saying, the rogue cops, you can always go back and look at the archives and you'll see what I'm talking about. We talked about them. And that's not going away. But we're going to move forward today because I have a great guest, and my co-host is going to be here today. That's Danny Joe. She's here twice a month now with young entrepreneurs, and well, not so much young entrepreneurs, young, old, medium entrepreneurs. We are talking about artists and things like that I think you're going to really enjoy. But we got a lot of things going on here, and we want to talk about. One being labor issues. You know, right now I'm talking to a professor that's in a college, and they're talking about they want to get the book that I wrote, Ungrateful, and teach it in a class. I almost flipped over that. As soon as we sign that contract, I'm going to let you know what college it is, and you're going to be shocked. But it's great because in that book, Ungrateful, it tells you why labor unions are where they are now, what happened, and what you can do to get it back on its feet. One of the labor unions that we mentioned in there is one of the we mentioned ATU labor unions. And in ATU labor unions, things have gotten kind of weak. But look like they are getting back on their feet because they have been, I think, reading my book. And so we're gonna have a great labor contract negotiations and things like that are coming up. I know the teachers union are preparing. I talked to some of the officers at the teachers union, and they're getting ready because they know that, you ever notice how when they come to the issue of pensions and the pension is going belly up and is really breaking the city, you notice how they went and found a way to take care of the fireman's pension and take care of the policeman's pension? But they want the Chicago Teachers Union to pay their own. I don't think it's going to happen. You're probably going to see some walkouts, and I hope not. I don't want to see the kids out of school, but you're probably going to see some walkouts and things like that. And that takes me to the mayor's budget. In the mayor's budget, they're talking about rate. Now, I kind of give him credit a little bit because with this budget, he kind of did the right things. He went after not only the poor, I don't think he should have taxed them at all, but he also told people that have money, you got to pay some taxes too. And they were like, hey, wait a minute. Do you know who we are? I mean, they were really upset about it. But the alderman told them that the only way you're going to be able to put forth a garbage tax and taxes like that is you got to tax these people with these big homes and these big buildings and things like that. That's all because you have been getting out there making your aldermen do their job. Remember I told you that? It's all about the vote. It's all about the vote. Yeah. It's all about the vote. If you get out there and make them do their job, the mayor's got to do what they tell them to do. Now, if you hadn't done that, they would have said garbage tax and that's it. You all are going to bear the whole burden. But by you getting out there and doing what you're supposed to do, by telling the alderman, hey, you're going to be out. And you showed them too during the election time because you kicked a bunch of them out. You put new aldermen in, and the ones that stayed in had a big fight. So they understand you're not kidding now. So keep that up. Keep that good work up. I told you, the best way to attack these problems is what? With the ballot. Right? Get out there and vote. Get out there and vote. But now, I want to take the time to talk about what's going to happen tomorrow at Dunbar High School. I wonder if you're familiar with Dunbar High School. You have some great people coming out of Dunbar. Like Ronnie Lester used to play with the Bulls. Just some great people. One of the news anchors, can't remember the name. But anyway, you got a lot of them that came out of Dunbar. And that school was going down, but the people in the community said, no, we're not going to have it. And they got with their alderman and city hall, and now that school is right back on the rise again. So we decided to have the Infinite Scholar program there. The Infinite Scholar is where we give away scholarships to deserving young students that's graduating. And we have about 60 colleges that's going to be in there tomorrow. We had 40, and then 20 more said they want to come because we've been so successful here in Chicago with kids with great grade point averages and test scores. So they're getting good kids out of here, out of Chicago. Some of the colleges in Chicago don't like these colleges are coming out in here snatching these kids away. But the colleges here are not offering full scholarships. They offer part scholarships, and by the time you get in the middle of your tenure, you don't have any more money. So now you borrowed money, you've got scholarships, now you're broke. You can't finish. But you got that debt. And you'll be paying that debt the rest of your life. What we try to do is get colleges to come in, kids with great averages, like 3.0 and 28 ACT, they're likely to get a full scholarship at a college that they would enjoy going to. And we're talking about colleges like Kentucky University. We're talking about big colleges and small colleges. And even community colleges. They don't normally come in, but we can recommend community colleges to people that, can't meet the grade point average. But tomorrow we're going to be doing that. And give you a little idea of what we were doing. I want you to run that first clip, if you can, on Infinite Scholar. Let's see if we can run that first clip. And you get an idea of what we're talking about with what we're going to do tomorrow. And
So just to let you know, this week we're admitting students with a 1610 SAT or a 24 ACT, so you're right there. And that criteria could change because we have rolling admission, so it depends on the student body that's applying at the same time as you.
For more than a decade, in American gymnasiums, academic facilities, and even arenas like this one, motivated colleges and universities have been reaching out to high school students with offers of on-the-spot admission and scholarship money.
From East Lee County. So East Lee County is getting their representation in Kentucky State University, $10,000 for 4 years. Congratulations. And next.
This particular outreach is to first-generation students, those who would be the first in their family to attend a four-year college and get a bachelor's degree. It's also targeted toward students and parents who cannot afford to pay for a college education on their own and may not even know that scholarship money is available. It's all part of a St. Louis-based effort known as the Infinite Scholars Program, which recruits the colleges and universities, then organizes scholarship fairs around the nation in conjunction with local education professionals. Students are pre-registered for the event and come prepared to discuss their options one-on-one with college representatives.
So as far as admission goes, if you have a 24 or higher in your ACT or 1090 or higher SAT, then you're automatically admitted as long as you passed all your core classes.
It's a full ride. We're going to pay for your tuition, room, board, fees, everything. We're also going to give you a stipend for books.
On November 15th, you'll be eligible for our Admissions Merit Scholarship that's worth $2,000.
It's great. It's a great program. You'll have wonderful opportunities to interact with faculty and create those strong reports with them, and opportunities for research as well.
With our past history with Infinite Scholars, we're looking at around about 17 students over the course of our involvement with Infinite Scholars, and every one of them have graduated.
Our first generation college students, we feel, have a higher need for the one-on-one conversations and then also the guidance that comes afterwards to help guide the student and their family through the opportunities that were offered this evening, help them understand the costs involved with going to school, some of the costs that are listed in the scholarship brochures, but also some of the incidental costs as well, and really help the students feel empowered to make choices and that they do have choices available, and that this is really the beginning of a journey for them.
The other thing is what we will do when we go back is we've been keeping track of all of our students who have received scholarships. So we're going to take that information back. We will both coordinate and work with the school counselors in those buildings so that those counselors can reach out to the parents and the students, meet with them, and help them through the process.
Lely High School is in the house. Again, 4 years, $70,000 from the University of Northern Iowa. Now go get some more money. That's what we're talking about. Let's show some love.
Many of the students walk away with on-the-spot offers of scholarship money and admission from multiple schools.
There you go, ma'am. Congratulations.
It's been so much fun seeing kids accepted in college on the spot. You know, now perhaps they're not going to end up at that college, but what a boost to their ego and their work and their self-confidence that now they can be accepted to college. And it's just changed the whole way that they've looked at themselves and they look at their futures.
And I've been a part of Infinite Scholars for over 8 years. And even last year here in Lee County, I can tell you how many parents I saw crying when their daughter or son was awarded funding. I mean, I have chills right now talking about it. It's amazing. So it's an opportunity that if it wasn't presented, maybe they wouldn't be going to college or have an opportunity or a feeling and belief, a hope that they can actually do it.
What we'll be doing tomorrow. But what I want to do right now, I went to St. Louis and to their fair last weekend and had my camera person to shoot some shots of that scholarship fair, and it came out just great. I mean, these kids were all over the place getting scholarships, and I'm gonna have these films ran simultaneously. Just back to back. And you're going to see a beautiful young lady getting scholarship. You're going to see people like Jackson State talking to their people, and another school, I think Missouri, is talking to their people. And you're going to see an interview that I had with, a little slight interview with Mr. Melvin Steels. This is a guy that wrote a lot of the songs for the Spinners. Like, could it be I'm falling in love and stuff like that. And also you just see some great people. So I want to run those, and ours are going to be even bigger than that tomorrow. So if you can, come on by Dunbar High School at 3000 South King Drive. It'll be from 10 o'clock to 2 and then from 4 to 8. So run those clips if you can and see if we can't. I just want to run them, just keep running them back to back.
We would just up your scholarship.
This is Jackson State.
Valedictorian, salutatorian scholarship deadline.
And this young man is
all of the
explaining
information you guys have is listed right
what it
inside of
takes
this brochure.
to get inside Jackson
Everything
State.
is inside of your bag. You got a bag? Who did not get a bag?
This is just one of the colleges. Let's get around to all of them. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm the regional director in Chicago, working the scholar.
Okay.
Are you guys gonna make it to Chicago?
Sure are. We have a representative that's next week, correct?
Yes.
Yes, we have a representative coming. I think it's Mr. Chad Thomas. He should be there.
Okay, I'll be the guy there. I'm the one to put it on, so I'll see you there.
Nice.
I'll see him there. Okay. And definitely be looking for it.
All right.
Okay. I think it should be great. All right.
Thank you.
All right. That was Jackson State. And the next clip you'll see is a young lady that got a scholarship out of Jackson State. And we're gonna show that we're gonna show that clip in a minute. But I just want to talk to you about that. Do you all realize how we have the money? All we need is the kids. We gave away $19 million last year. We want to give away more this year. You don't hear a lot about it. Now, we were on the radio. You might have heard radio spots. You don't see it a lot on television. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but sometimes I wonder about that. Now, I know we got a lot of politics here in the city of Chicago, but the kids shouldn't be involved in that. We're trying our best to make sure that these kids get the opportunity to further their education. And if you got children, and this is late, but if you got children that are looking for scholarships and it's got good grades, even if they don't have good grades now, come on by. You still may get a scholarship. We had one time we had a young lady that we was at Inglewood, and she didn't think she had a chance to get a scholarship. She was a volunteer there at Inglewood. I think she had 1.9 or something like that, really. And so principal encouraged her, well, go try, you never know. But what she didn't know was that even though she didn't test well and her grades weren't where should be. She was very active in the community. She demonstrated that. She was a volunteer at the school. She did a lot of things. All that stuff added up. And guess what? She got a scholarship. She was crying, and her mom, she called. Her mother and father came down. They were crying. I started to cry too. It was beautiful. And because she didn't think she had a chance. She was so happy she didn't know what to do. And then you had a lot of other kids that got scholarships. We had twins. We had twins last year. Each one was offered $123,000 for their scholarship for Tuskegee. And I think it was pathology is what they wanted to do. And, you know, guess what? Somebody came and outbidded them for that. I think the University of Illinois came and offered more money to them. So they ended up going to the University of Illinois. This is the thing I'm talking about. And when it comes down tomorrow, it's going to be so great. We're going to have shots for you. We're going to bring it in next week to let you see. And this is where it's a slow, you got to be patient with it. When I say patient, when you want to bring your culture to where it should be, it's the young people that you're going to have to depend on. Don't think that they're all dumb. Don't think that they're all stupid, because the majority of them are not. They're very intelligent people. Don't think they all wear their pants hanging below their ankles. And, you know, all the girls is, you know, no, they're not like that. You see, when did you see all those kids on that video just now? How they were in there eager to further their education. And we try to make sure that we satisfy them. So, and we got great sponsors too. You know, we have like the Teachers Union, and we have other great sponsors. If you go into the website, you'll see that. We have ambassadors like the Whisperers and Shaka Khan, and Bob Beeman is the ambassador for all of it, internationally for us. And all
right.
So these people believe.
All right, this is Joe.
These people believe in us. So, and we do that. Now, one of the things we do too, when they come in and they look for scholarships, and they apply for scholarships, normally when you apply for scholarship, it costs you from $75 on up to $100, $150 just to apply for the scholarship. But with Infinite Scholar, it costs you $0, because we have sponsors that work with us, and we work with the colleges, and the colleges don't charge the kids anything. So that is a wonderful blessing. When we have 2,000 kids, if you get $100 from 2,000 kids, let's see, how much is that? 1, 2, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But and that will end up, you know, coming out of your pocket. Just say you apply at this college, that's $100. You go to another college, that's another $100. You know, it's totally ridiculous. In my opinion, I think that education should be free. It should be free. In all the other industrial countries in the world, their education doesn't cost a dime. But over here, we got a lot of greedy people. They want to try to get their hands in your pocket any kind of way they can. And they make it so that, you know, you won't be able to get scholarships because you don't measure up. Then when you borrow the money, they'll let you borrow $25,000, $30,000. And you get halfway through school, you need more. Oh, can't let you have any more. And now you don't have your degree. You can't finish college. You got to get out on your own, because mom and dad are like, hey, you know, time for you to go. You get out there, and then you owe money that you'll be paying, and the longer you take to pay it, the higher the interest goes. That's greed. That's nothing but greed. There's no reason to be charging you money in the first place. Our president of the United States took him 2 years after he was president to get his down, him and his wife, Michelle, because they had to borrow money like that. They don't need it anymore, but Sasha and Malia won't have to do that, but your kids will. Mine will. And, well, mine are grown, but my grandkids will. And, you know, it shouldn't be like that. You got people out there right now like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Hillary Clinton, they're saying that college should be free. College, there should be no charge for people to get education. You know, when you allow people to get the education and learn, that builds and you know, it makes the country stronger. It allows us to compete with everybody else in the world. But when you're holding back some kids that could be geniuses, like the little boy that built the clock about a week ago that they thought was a bomb. That shows you how dumb the teachers are. But they thought it was a bomb. He told them that this is a clock. I told you I was going to build it. Here it is. It's a, you know, and they saw that and they called the police, put him in handcuffs and took him out, took him to jail.
Hey, this is Sherry. This is
brought him back, and you know, then they suspended him. They suspended him and told him, you know, after 3 or 4 days of suspension, you could come back to school. This kid said, no, thank you. Okay. This kid said, no, thank you. I really don't want to do that. And he and his parents, they got all kind of offers from MIT and everybody, you know, because he's a genius. We had a lot of geniuses get murdered right here in front of our eyes, drive-by shootings. These kids, some of these kids were geniuses, you know. But I think that they got that clip together now. We want to try to show that clip because this is some of the kids that were in St. Louis.
All right. This is Jerry Williams again, and Ashley just got a app from Jackson State, which they offered just right off the bat because of her academics, over half of her scholarship fees, but they may give the entire scholarship fee once they look at her golf and her sports things. And this is just one school that she's looking at. So Ashley Johnson, no, Ashley Williams Johnson, that's what it is.
Williams in there somewhere.
Hey, this is for the Talk Labor Show. You're here in St. Louis. Are you impressed with what you've gotten so far?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right then. You're still going to be moving to look at some other schools and things like that?
Yes, I am.
Because I know that there's a lot of schools looking for persons like you with the 4.3, 4.0 and stuff like that and all the good stuff. Okay? Going to go interview some more of these young ladies. This is Ashley from West Point, Mississippi. Okay. Young ladies and young guys. There you go.
Personal statements, you can't attach those to your file if you're interested, but it's certainly not necessary for consideration of admission. We also have right here all of our majors. So you mentioned you're kind of thinking about medical school. We have like an actual pre-med track. So you choose like an undergrad major, maybe like biology or chemistry, and then you have a second advisor that's there to make you to get into it. So teachers kind of emphasize that we do have a track to get into it. So yeah, and since you're a senior, have you already applied to Mizzou? Well, I'll let you know that we are waiving the application fee today, so you can save yourself $55 just by making sure you fill this out, turn it back into us before you leave today or before 1 o'clock, before the fair. So, and then eventually you can have your test scores and transfer to Central Oregon.
Hey, this is Sherry. This is Mr. T's wife, and this is Ruth, my wife. Yeah, the affair. All right, this is Melvin Stills. This is Mr. Gus Redmond, of course. I'm going to have Mr. Melvin Stills on Talk Labor. We're going to talk all about what went on in the music business. And I'm going to drag this other guy out here, Mr. Gus Redmond, and have him explain what went on in Chicago.
Yeah, you know what? When he come over, I'm going to come on the show.
You're going to come on the show?
Yeah.
Okay. Melvin, you're going to be on the next week, right?
I'm going to come.
Next week.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about that. All right? So we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Okay.
All of that was beautiful in St. Louis. And the guy that I was talking to at the end there, Mr. Melvin Stills, he's the guy that wrote a lot of the hits for the Spinners and a lot of other people too that you know. And he was a school teacher himself. And he sits back now and just collect royalty checks. That's what I want to do, man. That's cool. Like I say, hey man, why don't you fly into my show? Sure. Let's go to New Mexico. Gotcha. You know, that's nice. But you know, like I told you before, we got a great show lined up for you today. And my co-host is going to be here with her guest. And I think you're going to really, really enjoy this because this is something that you don't think about. And I'm going to let her introduce what her guest does, but I think it's marvelous what her guest does. And it's something that you all can use. But we're going to do this. We're going to take a break. We're going to take a commercial. And then when we come back, I'm going to have Danny Joe and the Danny Joe Company on. So we'll be right back after this commercial.
International Detective and Protective Services, 1-773-675-8506. Over 20 years of armed security experience. The very best in shopping mall security, inventory watch, find missing loved ones, investigative open legal cases, community policing. Are you taking a vacation this summer? For peace of mind, you need our house watch service, cheetah surveillance, and much more. International Detective and Protective Services, 1-773-675-8506. That's 1-773-675-8506. Call now.
Golden's Tropical World. Come to Golden's Tropical World for tropical fish of all sizes, colors, and types, and other small animals like iguanas and birds from all over the world. There are beautiful tanks, pet supply needs, including dog and cat foods, and expert consultation. Check out Golden's Tropical World, 8611 South Ashland Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Call ahead, 773-239-8809. Your Pet Shop.
Back, you're at Talk Labor with the Young Entrepreneurs and Artists segment. I'm Danny Joe, and as you can see, I'm wearing the Danny Joe Company t-shirt, and I wanted to wear it today because October 3rd, we're having auditions for the Majorette Dance Team. And the name of the Majorette Dance Team is called Posh Lady. So yeah, we're definitely going to have auditions at 7800 South Racine. And I wanted to make sure that you saw me wearing my shirt, the Danny Joe Company, so that you know we real and we're doing this thing for real. Please come out if you have any girls from 12 to 18 years old to be on the Majorette team that you want to audition, your parents, and you're like, I want my kids to be in something. I want them to learn jazz, discipline, how to work with a team. It's great. It's going to be on every Saturday, so just come out. You can also go to the website, thedannyjoecompany.com. A little less about me and more about my guest. So today we have a great guest here. I actually met her in college, so I'm very happy to see how she's grown and to hear about it. Please welcome Mika Thompson of. So Mika Thompson owns MCM Professional Writing Services. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Yes. So tell us, how did you start your business?
Well, MCM Professional Resume Writing Services literally came off of the fact of me kind of doing favors for people.
Oh.
As you know, at Lewis, when we went to school together, I majored in journalism. Right. So my greatest passion and my kind of niche has always been writing. And people have always been kind of like, how do you get these great jobs? I've never stayed without a job for too long. I would literally quit one or sometimes even get fired and literally have another one lined up like the very next week.
Yeah.
I've worked for, yeah, like clockwork. I've worked for Comcast. I had the opportunity to work for Microsoft for quite some time, and that interview process was intense. Yes. Employers love seeing that on my resume. Like, you work for Microsoft? I'm like, yeah.
You know,
so,
everybody knows Microsoft. Okay.
It's one of those names that draws attention immediately.
Okay.
And I started doing resumes as favors for people to help them out. kind of help them get their foot in the door the way I was able to get my foot in the door, you know, on my own. And after a while, everybody kept getting jobs from it, and it kind of clicked after a while, hey, why don't I start charging people for this?
Right.
So it was literally kind of birthed from just genuinely helping people and turning that into something that could help me financially. So
that's an awesome story, because you realize that most businesses will succeed if you have a story or a passion for it in the beginning. It will always work out. That's great. So I know that we talked about how you got started, but let's talk about exactly what you do. So MCM Professional Writing Services, what do you write about?
Well, MCM Professional Resume Writing Services, we do a lot of, it's more so career development and career assistance type services.
Okay.
So resumes, mock interviews, cover letters, LinkedIn profiles, professional bios. I do a lot. I even do like business proposals. I will review them. People have reached out to me and asked me to construct them and draft them. Because again, writing is just something that I do.
Okay.
So when it comes to like MCM and pretty much what it's all about career assistance and career development. Because I'm finding now is a really great need in people learning how to professionally develop themselves and how to create their careers really.
That's very true when you say that, because a lot of people were misinformed on how our resume should look, what's good to put on your resume, what font to use. I just heard this, like the font even matters. Can you talk about that? Like,
absolutely.
What's that?
First things first, never use Times New Roman in your resume. I know
it's the default.
I know. It's the default, it's traditional, but at the same time in the professional world it is cliche and it's tired. Employers are tired of seeing it. So never use Times New Roman. As a matter of fact, on I think it was Good Morning America, Channel 7, did a segment on it, and it's now dubbed the sweatpants of resume fonts because it is considered to be that lazy.
So it's like if you showed up to the interview with sweatpants on.
And it's like you're submitting your resume and you're in sweatpants, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So on all of the resumes that I do, I use Arial Narrow as a body font, and I will use either Verdana or Century as a headline font for names, titles, etc. But do not use Times New Roman like ever.
Oh wow! So we've learned something, guys. Like Times New Roman is the default on your computer, but on Microsoft Word, do not use Times New Roman.
Don't use Times New Roman.
It's a no-no.
It is a no-no.
You will not get hired.
Correct.
I'm not wishing it on you. I'm just saying. It's very important, okay? Mika Thompson said it.
It's legit.
Yes,
so.
yes. Do you have any more tips that you can give without giving away
without
your
giving
services?
Away too much? Absolutely. The name on your resume should not be too overpowering. So people say the larger the font size on your resume, the less employers take you seriously. So fonts, I want to say 10, more than 10. So traditional is like 12 and up. Some people use 14, some people use 16. Don't use those.
Wow.
For your name, I would say nothing larger than 20, 25 at the very most. And do not bold anything unless it is necessary. So titles for subsections such as your education, your industry experience, and also your skills and your professional competencies. But outside of that, do not bold anything. It gives the assumption that you're yelling. It's almost equivalent of writing in caps. And of course, nobody likes to do that.
To be yelled at.
Yes, nobody likes to be yelled at. So yeah, that's a couple of tips.
Cool. That's awesome. That's awesome, because I've learned something and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I did that wrong all my life.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you came on the show to say that. Mika Thompson also, instead of like she does writing, but she also does public speaking.
Yes, I'm just now starting to get into that. I have been kind of expanding my professional horizon, so to speak, into seminars and webinars, workshops where I can teach people about how to create an effective resume, how to walk into an interview with confidence, and how to really portray yourself as a professional. Because nowadays I think it's more important than ever. People rely so heavily on social media, this non-communication stage that has blown up immensely, that when it comes to individually representing yourself in person, a lot of people are struggling with how to do that. So.
And I can understand that because millennials, let's talk about us.
Yes.
We love to be on Facebook. We love to text. We will call later.
Yes.
And, so being in front of someone talking, that skill has to be learned because the generations before us, they know how to do it. They didn't have the Facebooks and social media sites. So that's a necessity basically for going into an interview, because you're going to see this person that you're getting interviewed with. So
that is, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's something that I encounter with, it's something that I experience between the two, I guess, age groups that I service. The somewhat the older, seasoned demographic, seasoned demographic that I have the opportunity to deal with, their resume skills are not necessarily the best, but their interviewing skills are on point, because they have been taught how to communicate and how to verbally express themselves in a professional manner. More so this generation, their resumes, they're a little bit more crafty, they're cute, they use the templates and it's fancy, but when it comes to doing an interview, they really don't know how to articulate themselves professionally and say those key words and those phrases that employers want to hear. So that's definitely something that I encounter between the two age groups that I have the opportunity to work with.
Wow, and that's also interesting to know, because didn't you know that there's a gap that has to be bridged, as far as the seasoned and this generation. We all need to talk to each other. We can learn some things from each other if we do that. That's a side note, but it's a must. So yes, I'm also hearing reviews. I actually had a guest on before you. Her name was Courtney of Want Some Cakes.
Yes.
And she told me that you actually did her resume. And I think she was your first resume, right?
Yes, Courtney was my very first paying customer.
Wow.
I had just launched MCM. Actually, we just turned 1 year. Yay. September of 2014 is when I officially launched it. I created a Facebook page for it. I created the Instagram page for it. And of course, the three of us went to college together. So that's how we met. And I think she ended up completing her program elsewhere, but we always kept in touch via Facebook and social media. And when she reached out to me, she was saying that she really wanted to take Want Some Cakes to the next level. And she wanted to expand her craft. And she was getting ready to relocate to California. And when she got out there, she wanted to work for a bakery and, have the opportunity to further her skill set. So she reached out to me to create her resume. Like I said, very first paying customer I had. Wow. And it was kind of it was intense, because I was like, oh man, I know this girl, and she's getting ready to start something new, and she's like me, she's an entrepreneur, so I definitely appreciated the support. And when I gave it back to her, she gave me amazing reviews. She told me that she loved it, and she kept me posted with each and every interview that she had. So yeah, Courtney was my very first muse in a way, and after that she really kind of gave me the inspiration and the motivation to go forward, because at first when you step out on your own, you get a little bit of both. You get good things and you get bad things at the same time. So the feedback that she gave me was extremely constructive and helpful, and she's actually referred me several clients who have all had successes with the resumes I've done for them too. So yeah, it's been great.
You seem like you're doing awesome just to be 1 year old. You're doing awesome, and I'm just so happy for you to just actually grow and have your own business. It's a journey that you have to stick with for a lifetime. It's not like going to a 9 to 5. You clock in, you clock out, you can be done with it for the rest of the day. Young entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs, period, have to be the boss. So you're working until you go to sleep. Wake up, you work, go to sleep,
Literally.
So I'm so happy that you came to our show today. Can you tell us what we can reach you via social media, the website?
Sure. And I actually have a couple of testimonials and just like little phrases from customers, clients. So my Facebook page is www.facebook.com/MCMProResumes. My Instagram account is @MCMProResumes. And my direct phone number, you can give me a call, give me a call, or shoot me a text message, either or. It's 708-830-9308. And for resume inquiries or just, services that you may be inquiring about, my email address is mcmakeovers@gmail.com.
Cool. So you got all that.
Yes.
This was live, but you can always come back to Talk Labor, Star Planet TV Network on YouTube and look at it again so that you can get that information just in case you missed it.
Yes.
So thank you for coming on our show, Mika. It was a pleasure.
Always, yes.
Thank you. So I'm Danny Joe again. As you know, the Danny Joe Company is having auditions for a majorette team. If you are interested or if you know someone that's interested, contact the Danny Joe Company at thedannyjoecompany.com. Thank you, and we'll see you again next time on Talk Labor.
That's perfect.
It's time to talk about what's going on in America. It's time to talk about what's going on in the workforce and in the homes of the American middle class. It's time to talk about the status and the future of today's economy. It's time to talk labor with your host, Jerry Williams Sr.
Yeah, I'm going to restrict the power to a certain area. Put it that way. Services.